On.
I'm too sexy for my show.
Stop! You're gonna demonetize it. You're gonna demonetize.
I know, right off the bat.
I didn't know you were planning that stunt.
And deplatformed.
Okay, so I got a screenshot.
We're not live, by the way. Oh, there we go.
No, we are live.
No, we were live.
I got a screenshot by
I timed
Vitaly.
it perfectly.
I got a screenshot by Vitaly 5 minutes ago. He is up $745,365 on his Tesla stock right now.
Calm down,
And-
buddy.
and-
That's a
and
lie.
so-
That's a lie. Nobody come to my house. That's a lie.
All right, so well, we got to talk about it. I mean, there's not much else to talk. Carlos, is your friend coming on today or no?
Oh, yeah, that's a good call. That's a good thing. Let me hit him up. Let me send him
If
the
not, he
email
can
link.
come on next week because I know we got a lot to talk about today. So
Yeah, he can come on Sunday. It's like he's working. So I'm gonna hit him up and let me just give him the stream link and say if you can hop on, we'll set a segment. If not, then we'll just use we'll just take calls later. Let me hit him up.
So Tesla obviously made a very big announcement. GM is now partnering with Tesla the same way Ford partnered with Tesla to use their supercharging network. Vitaly, you and Carlos are the big Tesla shareholders on this podcast. What was your raw reaction to this news?
You missed the 30 minutes of me jumping up and down. Well, we talked about this one, Carlos, a week ago, 2 weeks ago. We said as soon as Ford fell, that's it. The dominoes are going to collapse. We talked about this.
Right, Ford falling and adopting the
Yeah.
Tesla's connector, that proprietary connector. People don't understand how huge that is. That's like
Well,
when
it's not
Apple says,
proprietary. He open sourced it. The NACS. You talking about that one?
well, no, what I'm saying is Ford putting Tesla's interface on the charging side as well as the adapter side is huge. That's like Apple saying we're moving to Thunderbolt as the standard, and then everyone has to move to Thunderbolt as the standard. That
You
means
mean
every
Microsoft?
device, every
You mean
peripheral.
Microsoft moving to Thunderbolt?
No, I'm saying if Apple says I'm putting only these ports on our computers, now everybody's got to follow and make their peripherals for it. Like Tesla has now created the standard, right?
They have, yeah. But I'm saying
huge.
Ford saying that gave GM no choice, absolutely no choice. They had to do it because otherwise they'd be missing how many 12,000 chargers. So Tesla's network is the biggest. You have to be part of it. If Ford is part of it, GM can't go to its customers and say, "Hey, well, we're good too, but we just don't have 12,000 extra chargers." You can't say that. So now all of a sudden they're going to fall. So we were talking on our WhatsApp, but who's next? What do you guys think is next? Who's next to fall? The next domino.
Well, you think it's Volkswagen? I mean, that they're all going to have to fall. They're all going to have to fall in line at a certain point, or what? I mean, what are they going to do? Is Volkswagen going to announce a partnership with Electrify America? Like that'll actually tank the stock.
I think they're all partnered with Electrify America. Actually, that's already there. They have no choice in that too.
But if they're not on Tesla's network now, like it's like Mary Barra was saying. But why don't we play a little bit of that? Did you have the link to the Twitter space where she announced it? It's only 5 minutes.
I have a CNBC where she's talking about it.
Where she bent the knee, dog.
What does that mean? What does that mean, Carlos?
If you watch Game of Thrones, you know what that means. That's a Game of Thrones reference where they bent the knee. That means you are submissive to me. I am king. She bent the knee. And you can tell, at least maybe I'm a little biased, but you can tell she hated every minute of that call. Because first of all, she's on Twitter, which she hasn't been active on Twitter in like over a year. If you look at her profile, when the whole thing happened, when he took it over, it was like a protest. Now she has to go with her tail between her legs on his social media network and announce a partnership and say good things about Tesla. So yeah, it's just one smackdown after the other.
Well, Elon's smart because we could talk about this separately, but what he's doing is he's making sort of friends with the industry, which means now they're going to be advertising back on Twitter. So the customers that went away, Ford went away, GM went away. I think they're going to be back. I think they're going to start advertising again on Twitter because if they want to stay friendly, and they all do want to be friendly now, right? So I think this is good for Elon and his companies.
It's also not 100% like he's not it's not what you call it a charity here. He's getting something out of it. Like essentially the government
he's getting paid
forced him to, because they had, what was it? I forgot what the initiative was, several $100 billion or whatever it was to revamp the infrastructure. Now Tesla gets access to that because instead of building out the infrastructure, they can just give that to Tesla to continue building.
Oh, do I need a drink too?
Those are awesome.
Is everybody drinking?
Those are awesome. The BlackBerry one is awesome.
Yeah.
Chris, what was your reaction to this news?
I mean, I thought it was really positive. The only question that I have is how does this impact Tesla sales, right? Like when you open one of your competitive moats to your competitors, what does that mean? Like the Tesla charging network has definitely been a big competitive moat for Tesla over the last 3-4 years, because if you got an EV, but you couldn't use the Tesla superchargers, you were overly reliant on the non-functioning half the time Electrify Americas and all the other ones,
Charge Point,
then
one of the
the
worst
charge
networks.
points, yeah. So it's one of those things that really it was hampering the adoption of EVs in general, but at least it was something that was giving Tesla a competitive edge. The question now is, if you give away this competitive edge, what does that ultimately mean for Tesla sales? And is this a pivot for Tesla for its bigger idea of becoming an energy provider? So I think the margins that could be coming to Tesla as being a service provider in the charging side are going to be massive. But what does that mean for overall car sales? I know a person who wants to buy an F-150, but the reason why they didn't buy it is because there was no supercharging available, and they didn't want to be overly reliant on the Electrify Americas and the charge points of the world. So, now they're probably going to get an F-150. So
That's
does
what
that
I
mean
told
that
you. I was going to get a 150.
I know, that's what I'm trying to reference. That's what I'm referencing right now.
He's like,
That's what I'm
somebody
saying.
told me they're getting an F-150,
Yeah.
and it's me.
Yeah. So that's the whole thing, right? Like, could you have gone with the Cybertruck instead? Yeah,
Well, okay,
but
so I would go with the Cybertruck instead. I didn't finish that conversation because it's on WhatsApp. It's harder, but
Mhm.
I made a mistake. I've said this before, that I should have got all of them pre-ordered, and whoever happened to come first, I just needed a truck. So I think your point is that basically, it does Tesla benefit if the network is open? How do they benefit if the network is open to everybody? Because we know that lots of people buy cars, including me, the Teslas, because you have access to the network. But I'm telling you, and I think we said this in the WhatsApp, if you're going to sell, I think it's 50 plus million cars a year, up to 70, 80 million some years, but 50 plus million cars, Tesla can't handle that. If we're actually going in that direction, and that's going to happen with EVs, we need Ford, we need GM, we need Volkswagen, we need all these companies, and Tesla's never going to supply all these cars.
But
So
that's
I think,
but that does lead to his mission, but that's not Chris's point. Chris is saying, in the meantime, are you gutting sales for people that would have waited for the Cybertruck? Now they'll buy the F-150 if that last barrier, meaning the charging, is now removed. And there's a good point to be made there. But the flip side of it is, they're going to continue to monetize those customers on the charging side. You have to understand, the superchargers aren't always full, so they're not fully monetized.
at least they're not New York, New Jersey. At least
They're not. They're just not. The other part of it is, if you listened to the investor day with what that woman was saying, the woman who's the head of the supercharging, they basically want to be the air traffic control of charging. Okay, so they have very sophisticated algorithms that understand where the cars are and how to maximize basically their grid, because they know where to move cars to where there's capacity available, right? And so they're going to monetize those customers and basically further squeeze more revenue out of the existing supercharger network. In addition to that, it's not all of them. It's only 50% of the network. They say 12,000, but it's not. They're not going to get them all. And it's also putting competitor customers right there in front of Tesla owners. The other thing too to consider is this. I know several people that during the pandemic, I won't mention any names, but you know some of these guys who were like, I want a Tesla, but I don't want to pay the crazy price. I'm going to buy a Model 3 right now, right? And as soon as the price comes down on the Model S or the Model X, I'll trade that one in and get another one. Or people who said, I want a Cybertruck, but I need a new car now because my lease is up. So I'm going to buy a Model X and give it to my wife when it's done and pick up or I'm going to buy a Ford F-150, and as soon as that's ready, I'll trade that in and get a Cybertruck. We still haven't seen that turnaround yet, that flip. Most people that got these cars, we haven't seen any lease turnaround yet, and so we still have to wait. It's like you were saying yesterday, wait for more information.
Yeah. The other point that I would try to make in terms of like businesses, this is a good comparison between how Google approached the cell phone market and how Apple approached it. Apple was a walled garden where you were going to pay an extra premium for the product, but you were essentially walled off from anything else. So other manufacturers couldn't use their hardware and build it so that you could load Apple software on there. It wasn't allowed. Google, on the other hand, took a different approach, saying, look, we don't particularly care about the hardware business because it's low margin business. And that's one of the I hope most Tesla investors realize that overall, when it comes to hardware sales, that's not where the companies are going to make money. As you push further down market, to eke out a profit in the car segment becomes harder and harder and harder, right? So if you try to do a $25,000 Tesla and think that you're going to get the same, premium. I mean, same margin as something like a Model X, which is $100,000. There's a huge hit that you're going to end up taking. So the question is, how do you make money? And I think this right here was the way that they do it, by monetizing the charging station, monetizing the infrastructure, and then monetizing the charging infrastructure that goes along with it. Because I'm sure that there's royalty payments associated with all of this stuff and everything else. So you wanna approach this like it's almost like Google, what Google did. Google said, look, we will give you guys Android as long as Google is the default search, right? So maybe this is the same thing where it's like, hey, we will give you access to the charging stations, but you're going to default to our charging standard, in which case we end up getting high margin revenue from that. Because that's what it is, right? These charging stations are basically just money printers once you install the hardware, and all you're doing is just taking electricity from the grid, right? And Carlos, you saw what the cost was. If you charge overnight, it's 1 penny. When you sell it, you're selling at 26 cents.
Right. So that's a 26, right, 2,600%
Yeah,
so if you're in your part of the country.
The other beautiful thing is,
you bring up Goodwin Baba's comment at 606.
I just want to mention the other beautiful thing about, so if you drive a Tesla and you're going to a supercharger, most likely you're going to a mall, a Walmart or something like that, where it's not its own Exxon Mobil. It's not its own little secluded thing. So I think the land and the rental prices, we haven't looked into this directly, but I bet you it's way cheaper to make a deal with some Kroger's to get like 10 stalls installed on their lot, as opposed to trying to section off a piece of highway, basically, and have that as a lease. So I think just the cheapness of installing these chargers and the Tesla manufacturing, I don't know if you guys seen this, but they literally build it in the factory and they come in and they just set it up. So it's like,
did you hear what they said too? Like, there is a legal limit of how much weight you can transport, and they make sure that the entire thing weighs like 100 pounds or whatever is less than that limit. So they don't have to bring anything extra. It's like you said, they dig a hole within 2 days, they drop the thing in, make the connections, and it's up and running. No one else does that.
So it's super fast, super efficient to install these. And now the brilliant thing is that Ford people and GM people will be paying for the increase in this infrastructure, which one day I'm assuming this will make money. So to your point, Chris, I think Exxon is a valuable business, right? If that's a valuable business and Tesla takes some of that business away, or all of it, in the next 10 years, I think that's a valuable play.
Yeah. Because high margin. It's literally, you go from hardware to services, and services is much higher margin,
right,
with very little amount that you have to put in, and you get instant scalability. I'm not saying Tesla is going to give up the hardware business at all. I'm just saying that this is just one more thing that'll add to their bottom line. Because if you're telling me that a car company could ever, like a true 100% hardware only car company could be $1 trillion market cap company, I would tell you, hell no, never going to happen. But if you're telling me that there's a way that they can actually juice up their revenue, high margin revenue, and they're services based, I tell you that that's definitely a possibility. And especially now, if you think about it, it's highly scalable, and I'm sure eventually Tesla will probably sell FSD and all this other thing to their competitors, saying, hey, look, you want to use FSD? Here's, there is already a good amount of Tesla cars out there that have already been trained and everything, because the holy grail of accident prevention, believe it or not, is connecting two cars together, right? So if you look at like a daisy chain of cars, if the car A slows down, then car B usually gets, hits car A. But imagine right now they had inter-car connectivity. Each one could slow itself down to prevent these accidents from happening. Same thing with like merging into each other and all this other stuff. Right now, you have almost like an independent mind, whereas eventually you could theoretically create like a hive mind where each one is connected to each other, so it prevents fatal accidents and crashes.
Call it it's called a convoy, right? It's called a convoy. You see truckers doing that. I subscribe to Whole Mars catalog, and I don't know if this was a public one or a subscriber only chat, but we had a whole conversation about that, where he was talking about the semi software, right? Where you basically have one semi driver that could technically drive 6 of these trucks if they're all in convoy mode. But you could also deploy something where if there's enough Teslas on the road between, because they already have Bluetooth, right? So they know your phones, meaning they can connect to each other and get an idea and predictive maneuvering, where they could understand where they are, which also means that they can drive faster, closer together, right? So they can drive at higher speeds closer together. I did
Yeah.
just want to answer Danny's question. I don't know what time that was. Danny asked how many minutes the charger take and how many cars can it serve a day. I have the largest battery that Tesla current has right now in the Model X. It's 100 kilowatt hours, and the most it's ever taken me to charge is 45 minutes, and that's if I've gotten to the charger at like 10%, right? Because most of the time, if you navigate to the supercharger, on the way there, it preconditions the battery, and so when you get there, the charging flies. And I mean, 45 minutes, like Vitaly was saying, you're not sitting in a gas station for 45 minutes. I'm at a shopping mall. I'm usually stopping to like take a leak, run inside, grab some food, get something to eat. By the time you come out, the Tesla's telling you that you got 5 minutes left. You get in the car and you keep it moving. It's literally the most convenient way to do this versus spending 10 minutes at a gas station.
Well, it changes the behavior of charging. So I used to have to go to a gas station, have to make time for it, think about it. So now it's like if I'm going to the mall and there's a supercharger, I'll just supercharge. If I'm going home and I just charge my car to 280 miles every day. That's just what I do. I come home, I drove 20 miles, I plug it in. I drove 100 miles, I plug it in. So it's always full at the end of the day. It's not like I'm thinking about, oh, I have to go to the gas station in the morning. I'm going to work. I have to do this. So it just becomes a 2-second routine. That's it. Like charging your phone, literally like charging your phone. So I think people have to change their mindset on that. But I have something. Go ahead, Chris. Go ahead, Chris.
No, I was going to say the economic picture of a Tesla is becoming a lot better. Like I looked at, after my trip to the dealership and everything, I did the math and, with my wife, her Lexus payments, which are almost done, plus the cost of the car gasoline that we're paying, comes out to be about almost $800 to $1,000 a month for just the car, okay, including insurance and everything else. With a Tesla, if I charge it overnight, she was using it every day, dude, my bill would be cut in half. Like at this point,
you're saying with the same comparable lease? Are you saying with the same? Is it a lease or a buy?
It's a buy. It's a buy. We just it's just loaned. So the loans are almost done. It's financed. But the thing is, even the financing, Tesla's offering like 5.8% on a financing deal, but that's provided by, I think, Tesla. I'm not sure if they're doing it through a third party or whatever, but that's palatable. Like most people could do it. So the total cost of let's say like a 60-month lease on a Model Y would end up being between like $400 and $600. Now, if you took away the $400 that we have to pay for gas and convert that to only $10, $15 a month in charging, that's a huge savings that I don't have to put out of my pocket. That's $4,000 a year that we, believe it or not, if you think about it from an income perspective, I have to make $7,000 to pay for the $4,000 in gas, which is crazy. Instead, if I don't spend that $4,000, I only spend, let's say, $500 a year in charging costs. That's a huge savings for me, right? So even from a savings perspective, the time that this becomes profitable is already there. So I think at this point, we aren't equivalent to ICE cars. I think we're beyond equivalent to ICE cars.
Yeah,
especially if you look at total cost of ownership.
Right. If you're looking over the next 5 to 10 years of owning the vehicle, you're right. I keep going back to, I think the super chat was said his tires are expensive. I actually agree. Tesla tires.
I bought all season tires, $1,200, and they're rated for 50,000 miles, and I still have the original.
I think he means that. I think he means they get worn out a little bit faster.
But I'm telling you, they don't. I have 50,000 mile rated tires.
Well, for my wife, they're worn out, and we have to change her tires after 15,000, 20,000 miles. But she does drive on rough road, so that does happen. She's not always driving.
LA roads are not like New York roads, but I would imagine you're going to have to do the same thing on a gas vehicle. The weight there is more weight, but it's also more balanced, and it also depends on driving habits.
Wait, Carlos, when you mean in Vitaly, you mean you literally have to change the tire? That's what you're saying your wife had to do?
You're a little hot on your mic, by the way.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. Yes. You either change it yourself, of course, or you just go to a mechanic and he changes all 4 tires to brand new tires that are meant for EVs.
I've never changed a tire on my ICE vehicle.
You're too low now.
Yeah, you're too low.
I've never changed my tires on my ICE vehicles. We've inflated them a little bit when they.
It depends. Well, you have to check your tires.
How much you drive and where you drive.
Typically, you take a penny, right? Take a penny and go stick it into the tire thread. If it's about, like, you want it to sink in at least as deep as a Lincoln's head, right? So if you have anything less than that, your tires are getting too low. and that's dangerous. You won't notice it if on dry streets, but the moment it starts to rain, right? The moment you get any of that, you're going to hydroplane immediately.
Well, no, my car tells me if the tire pressure is low. It just tells me. That's what I'm saying.
Tire
5
pressure.
years I've never.
It's
Okay,
not
so-
tire
so,
pressure. This is
I-
tire tread.
I think we got distracted, but let's say even the tires are worse. Let's just say that let's give it to them that tires are worse for EVs. There's no oil changes. That's $70 every 3,000 miles, or 5,000 if you buy what is it? Synthetic oils.
Synthetic, yeah.
There is almost no brake changes. Okay, so my wife's been driving the car for 2.5 years. Her brakes are completely fine because she doesn't use the brakes. Okay, it's
There's also
regenerative braking
transmission fluid. Wait, there's also transmission fluid.
that we don't put in.
In a two-wheel drive vehicle, you have the rear differential, and if it's a four-wheel drive vehicle, you have both differentials that need to get replaced. So you have a bunch of mechanical moving parts that you don't need. You also have spark plugs, right? Which you need to replace
No
those. The
spark plugs, no timing belts.
Spark plugs and wires, right? Wires, belts.
So there's all these little things that nobody thinks about. And when you put all those things together, Chris, like you were saying, it's literally a no-brainer, especially if you pair it with solar on your house. It's literally a no-brainer. It's free energy at your house. So it's very hard to convince people of the whole picture of this because nobody thinks, I mean, everybody in this podcast does, but I'm saying any normal person you talk to, they can't think 2 minutes ahead, let alone 2 years, right? So I think that's the hard thing, how to explain it to them. This goes back to the advertising. This is why you need to tell people why this is important.
Here's a thought with all I'm sure that there's a way to figure out how to make more electric car based tires that last longer. I wonder if that's a thing that's happening where Firestone and Bridgestone are doing research on and development on, maybe create ones that have bigger threads, or like more denser material so that it doesn't wear and tear, so that so you don't have to change them out as frequently.
Elon spoke about this because Michelin's been working on airless tires for a long time. You can't. The current tire, you can change some of the composition to increase stiffness, right? But that overall changes the way the vehicle handles, and it also changes the it's like there's like a how do I explain it? There's like a rotational centrifugal force that occurs when the tires are spinning, and you can't fuck with that. And the overall changes the way that the car is going to handle. Like basically the composition of the tires, the way that they have them is fine. They need to wear the way that they wear. And having owned the vehicle, the amount of additional wear for the weight is not as much as people would think.
I have a question, and JBHBHB01 brings it up. I bet Amit doesn't know how to change a flat tire. Is this true?
Okay, so I am not going to let this podcast devolve into this flat earth conspiracy stuff you guys are talking about. So, like, flat tires aren't real, just like flat earths aren't real. We can agree to that,
Bricks
right?
aren't real.
Like my tires around.
Can we agree to that, or are we going to have
My tires are square. I don't know what you're talking
We're going to have a
about.
conversation about that.
All right, so he obviously doesn't know how to change a tire, guys. It's been confirmed. I
didn't say that. I just said I don't believe in flat earth.
That's a yes.
How can a tire be flat if the earth is not flat? Like you guys are. No.
Anyway, this is good for all Tesla investors. All right. So we've been saying this. I think we've been talking about Tesla for a long time, that if you're still not invested, I wonder what the bear case is. And I don't know. Everyone here has some Tesla stock, I think, at this point. So what is the bear case, Chris, if you were to bring one up?
Except Amit.
Okay, so let me just.
Amit doesn't have some Tesla stock.
I sold my 22 shares of Tesla, which was such a phenomenally large position, to load up on some regional banks that were, I think, more undervalued than Tesla at the time. And the return I have on those banks, because I did a particular strategy, was simply Tesla would have to go a lot higher than 160 to 240 or whatever is that for me to get a return, because my average was like 215. So, my thing is, like, you guys got in Tesla really early. I'm not saying Tesla is not early now. I'm saying at a $700 billion company, for it to 10x to be 7 trillion, a lot needs to happen. Not saying it can't happen, but a lot needs to happen. From 70 to 700 billion, a lot didn't need to happen realistically. They just had to keep doing what they were doing. And so I think there's better opportunities that are undervalued in the short term. And if you have a little bit of cash and you want a lot more return, you can't put it into Tesla because it's going to take a while for that return to happen. So,
okay,
man, that sounds like he's an investor now, man. That sounds
that's a trader. I'm sorry, but
how is that? Wait, how is that a trader? This is about making money. This is not about being in a cult.
You're chasing. You're saying I only had 20 shares.
Wait, are you saying we're cult members, like me and Carlos?
Yeah.
I'm saying if you say you'll never sell the stock,
I said that on the WhatsApp, and I'm like,
I will sell the stock. I've said this 1,000 times. In fact, as it goes over $1 trillion.
Okay, so my point is, Vitaly, why should I be buying at 700 billion if I have 20 grand and I want that 20 grand to yield me more than couple of
Well, I
percentage
think
points
Carlos
by
had an
next year.
answer for you, so let him answer first.
Okay, go ahead, Carlos. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I'm just answering someone bad. No, I'm just saying, like, I started my Tesla position with 5 shares, dude. I'm not a trader. I'm an investor. I only sold what I told you on.
What was the market cap you bought it at?
I don't even remember at the time. But I started with 5 shares. This is how you build a position. And with these large companies, like my position in Apple was huge at a certain point. But why? Because I held it long enough that it would split 9 times during the time that I owned it. This is how you get these share counts.
So let me add a caveat. If I had an average of 215 and I sold when it was 160, I took a $400 loss on my 20 shares. And I put it into something. I don't want to say how much return I've got on it, but it is a lot more than what I would have got if it was 240, which is 30
but what you're doing
above.
is you're looking back now, right? You're looking back and patting yourself on the back because you're going back.
Hell yeah, I'm patting myself on the back. That was a great move. What?
No, what I'm saying is you're looking back in time and you're saying, well, it worked out because I did this and this and this and this.
No, but it worked out because I didn't do some stupid shit. It worked out because you put your money in a really undervalued opportunity, way more undervalued than Tesla.
Okay, you could have put your money into SoFi and said the same thing.
I think the easiest thing to say is, instead of trying to convince him how great Tesla is, that's not the point. Everyone knows that. The point is, at around 600, 700 billion, I wasn't buying Apple. I wasn't buying Google because I was like, where are they going to go? What's going to happen to them? Are they going to make any more money? How are they going to go to 1.2 trillion? And that's why I didn't buy Apple, by the way. I was like, okay, it's 500 billion, 600 billion. Dude, it's almost 3 trillion. That's still a 6x from where I was looking at it and thinking about buying it.
Yeah, but how long did that take, Vitaly? That took almost 5 years.
Okay, you know what really irked me about when we were talking. This is what really irked me in the WhatsApp when we're talking about it, is you sound exactly like me at 25, dude. I thought the same thing. I had the same because I made a lot of these same mistakes. If I would have just held everything in my portfolio, dude, I would have been retired by 32. But I did the same thing. I was like, oh, how much long is this going to run? How much long? If I would have just held fucking Netflix or even my Meta position or Facebook at the time that I bought at IPO at $35. I mean, do you understand?
Yeah, but Facebook was a $30 billion company. You don't understand. My average was a 215 at a $650 billion market cap. That's not let me wait till it becomes a $6 trillion company. Like, that's a way longer time horizon. I'm not retired at 32.
I know, but you also made the mistake. So as it goes down,
you also, when Vitaly
as it goes down and we're buying it, me and Carlos were buying it as it was going down towards 100, 150, 120. We were buying it. Okay. You can go to our Discord. You can see it.
I bought calls on
My
Tesla.
point is, that's how you get your average lower, not by selling out and going into regional banking. You get your average lower in a quality company that's making bank. Look, that's obviously changing the future. And if you're not betting on companies, hold on, this is actually important. If you're not betting on companies like Enphase and Tesla that are changing the future, honestly, like, you're missing the most massive opportunity that's happening right now. Like, you're just missing. You're going to miss it, and it's going to be sad. You're going to be rich anyway, though, because you have Odia and you have this channel, so you might be okay there, but still, you're missing a massive opportunity.
And to be fair, you bought it at 212, but where were you when it was? We knew each other when it was 100, when it tanked in December, when it was tanked. We were screaming, we were banging the drum on this company for a long time.
That I can't go back in time.
You'd have been sitting on a 2.5. You'd have been sitting on 225 or 250% returns. Whatever money you put into Tesla, I say 20,000. You'd be sitting on 65 grand right now. If you had bought, say, in
but
November
Carlos, that's like saying if you bought it at 2010, which you could have.
No, but what you're doing is you're patting yourself in the back for saying I made this trade. But what I'm saying is you only were in a loss because when we were telling you it's $100 right now. Tesla was way oversold because of Twitter. Are you fucking kidding me?
You're correct on that. You're correct on the, but I can go back in time in January and say, I think you're equating a quote unquote trading mindset with that being like the byproduct of not buying the dip in January. Whereas in reality, I didn't really understand Tesla in January. And that was the reason to not buy it, which is a mistake on me. But
you also sold out of Enphase, right?
I also sold Enphase as well.
Yeah, and you don't understand both of them, but you understand regional banking.
That's what I'm saying.
No,
and you're going
I disagree with this, man. Like, I'm not going to sit around and wait with those companies for the next 5, 6, 7 years when there's a better opportunity that is undervalued that will give me more than enough money when that plays out to be able to then invest in those companies.
You're buying businesses here, man. You're buying businesses.
But that's true. But here's an example. When Meta was trading around $80, $90, I came around to everyone that I could and I said, look, this is one of those opportunities that no one should miss, because even if I was a holder in some other plays that I had conviction in, I sold out of them. I know that long term, those will still return me a good amount of money. But in the short term, I know that this was one of those rare moments where the market is dislocated and I can make money hand over fist. So you know what? Even if I get called a trader, whatever, I am still going to take that opportunity. I'm not going to say, well, you know what? I'm too principled to not sell my other things just so that I don't look like a trader. No, I have principles that I live by, but I'm also at the same time have other principles that tell me if there is an opportunity in the market where there's huge levels of dislocation, that you should take them, apply them to your investments, get in, make the money that you need to get the market to back to where it's supposed to trade at. Use that capital to buy back into their other core positions that you had some bullishness towards. This was one of those rare opportunities that comes around every 10 years, right? Where things go fucking ape shit. People sell things irrationally. October was that time where Google was trading at 50% below its all-time highs. Amazon is still trading was trading at its 2019 values. Remember, we did an entire episode on that. So it's dumb at that point to say, you know what, maybe I'll hold on to this company that I think over the next 10 years could perform versus Amazon, which you know is performing. Meta, which you know is performing.
Hold on.
I
real quick,
agree with
Vitaly,
you. And you're talking about the biggest, best quality companies.
Right.
Okay. This is what I'm saying. You're supposed to move your funds into Amazon, into Google, into Tesla, into
Not out of
Enphase.
them.
No, not out of them. You're making my point for me, but yet you're going into much more speculative plays.
Chris actually made
even
the
if it'll
opposite
work out.
point.
Even if it'll work out.
You're actually not getting it, V. So this is the summary of what's going on.
I got it. I brought Truist.
You and Carlos have a philosophical orientation towards investing that says,
Clark, get out of here.
Let me finish.
Oh my God.
Buy the dip. It'll make sense in a second. And then I want your response. Buy the dip on the best companies in the world and stay with it. Chris obviously thinks the same. I think the same. But Chris studies the market much more intimately in terms of the day-to-day. And he sees shit that none of us see. I think we can all agree he has seen shit that none of us can see. So what you guys are inadvertently admitting is you got two things right, Enphase and Tesla. But you don't have the ability to do the research. You don't have the ability to do the research every day to find those hidden gems.
Yeah.
And because if you found a hidden gem that's going to 5-6x in a year, why wouldn't you go there? But it takes a lot of research. No one has the time. You guys have full-time jobs, all that shit. So if Chris is able to do that, that's why his argument makes a lot of sense to like, why would I leave my shit stuck here?
I'll give you,
and hold on.
Again, for Chris, the
conclusion to this is a philosophical disagreement.
No, it's
doesn't
not.
mean you guys are right.
No, it's not. And what
it doesn't mean Chris is wrong.
No, it's not. And part of your debate strategy is always to spin it into a philosophical debate, to not make it about the numbers. This is about the numbers.
No. If you look at my Robinhood right now, this is only about the numbers. This is all numbers. To me,
let me ask you a question. I just want to
the error. This is what I'm coming back to. Okay, the error here, and I'm not even going to say the error, but I think the missed opportunity here was not like in the same way that Chris pointed out a massive opportunity, right? With say Truist, Vitaly and I were pointing out a massive opportunity in a company like Tesla, and an ability to get in to a company that has a tremendous growth trajectory, very, very very early, or not even early, but at a way lower valuation than what it should be trading.
Yeah, but so that doesn't matter if you pick one or the other if they're both massive opportunities.
So this comes with experience, by the way. We know trading out of companies. We know this already. We've done it. Me and Carlos, and I've traded out of great companies,
dude.
Because there was a cheaper little tiny company, and I invested in so many shit coins and so many tiny.
But I didn't invest in a shit coin. I didn't. Hold
on.
No one's saying
because the 10x was obvious that was going to happen, and the 10x wasn't obvious with companies like Apple and Google. It just wasn't obvious back then. Meaning we knew they were going up, but to go up that much, nobody even thought about it. We thought it was impossible, honestly. Tesla, how many people thought it would go from 40 billion straight to $1 trillion, like over a year, like. Who would have thought about that?
There's one thing I do want to point out and put up Johnny's comments on there really quickly. Johnny said Amit and Chris are traders, Vitaly and Carlos are investors, right? He's using that logic, and I'll tell you where that logic is flawed. It's flawed because it depends on the timing in which you're looking at. When the market is running like a nice, smooth, just going in a circular direction in a bullish trend, I am an investor. I will buy companies that I think will grow just like that. But in a bear market where there are opportunities, yes, I will trade into a position, get in, make a crap ton of cash, get out, and use those gains to diversify myself into long-term plays. That is what you're supposed to do. Capital is not an unlimited thing, neither, unless you guys
Especially when you're
have
25.
So
yeah, if you guys have like a money printer on the hand where you can, every chance that you have an opportunity, you have cash ready on the side going in, it's a different thing. All I'm saying is I will hold companies for 5 years, 10 years plus. Okay. My only thing is right now, there are opportunities where markets are dislocated. And this is a good time to buy stuff that if Mr. Market is giving you a discount, buy it, hold it, get into a price where it's going to go back to its normal trading range, right? And then you can sell out of that position and buy some longer term conviction plays.
So
That's
Chris,
Chris.
oh, wait, I just want to say, I
What's
agree
wrong
with
with
Chris.
Chris said? You got
No. I agree with what Chris said. I actually am only disagreeing with you. Okay, I'm not disagreeing
Me
with Chris
too.
because Chris does his homework himself. He has the conviction himself. You're buying into his conviction.
Well, I had to agree with his. No, if I bought
That
Tesla
never
in
works
January,
out well.
Hold on,
That-
if I bought Tesla in January
on.
because of you guys, I'd be buying into your conviction. So that's a wash.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying
So
that
ultimately, I
you
have
need
to
to
make the
buy-
decision, right?
yeah, Palantir is your conviction, by the way. So
No. But in terms of Truist versus Tesla, I had way more conviction on Truist after spending 5 hours with Chris in terms of undervaluation versus Tesla. Now you can
No,
subjectively
that's fine.
disagree.
Let me ask you this. What would happen if Truist right now tanks? Let's say it tanks.
What happens if
legislate
Tesla
something-
tanks?
And
some
stays around
legislation.
$25 for the next 2-3 years.
What
until
happens
it
if
returns
Tesla?
to-
What happens
I'm
if
asking
Tesla's
you.
margins
Hold
are
on.
fucked in the
Forget
next
about
year?
that. I'm asking you a question. Don't divert the fucking question. Just answer.
No,
the question.
then I lose
Let's say-
money. But no, I lose money.
You don't
But if
lose
Tesla
anything.
doesn't grow either.
Hold on. If
Then-
you have the shares, you don't lose anything. You can hold on to it. But my question is, do you want to sit in some regional bank for the next 2-3 years while Tesla does its double and triple and quadruple?
What if it doesn't?
Do you
What
want
if
to
Tesla
sit there?
What if Tesla?
No, I'm
doesn't?
asking you if this is what happens. I'm just asking if, take a big if, that maybe the
You-
world doesn't
you
work
can't
out the
say
way you
if
think it
something
will.
happens, because I can just say if the
If
opposite
Tesla
happens.
sits in the next range, by the way, as it's been sitting here, I haven't been selling anything. I've been buying only on the way down. I haven't sold a fucking share. Okay. Because I have the conviction where I know it's going. So my question is, if you had to sit with Truist for the next 2-3 years, would you sit there with Truist and feel good about it?
No, he would
I
sell
feel
it.
good
He would
sitting
sell
with
it.
Tesla.
He would sell it. He would sell it.
He would sell it at a loss, just like he did Tesla. This is my point. Like, think about this real hard, that if you sat there for 2-3 years with Truist, not something you have this most ambitious conviction for. Maybe Chris does, but you do not have that.
But how do you
sell
know?
out.
You're just assuming that for me.
Okay,
How do you
what
know?
if
You
they
tell me
both?
that.
What I'm saying is, what if they both tanked? That's what I'm saying. What Vitaly's point is this: if you had left the money in Tesla and it tanked, like you said, you have a bad quarter. Your conviction, I'm assuming your conviction would be like, I'm still going to hold this thing. His point is
I'm
that
gonna buy more.
if Truist, yeah, or buy more. Right, because you already invested. Let me buy more. His point is, if Truist were to tank right now, you were going after it for a moonshot that needs to hit everything. It needs to check every box. If it doesn't, you don't have the conviction in that company to hold.
You know
it
what the
for
problem
5
is here? The problem is you guys made up such a weird hypothetical. We went through COVID. We went through
weird
interest rates going to
hypothetical.
5%. Now, in a world in which interest rates are going down, the Fed is about to pause, and regionals that are at their levels at COVID are likely going to go up because you guys
missing the
don't.
point. He's
Hold on,
missing the
can I
point.
finish?
No, let him
You-
finish. Let him finish.
You guys have not. The DD you've done on Tesla, let's just assume the DD Chris and I have done on a regional is the same. And our argument, just like your argument is Tesla's a, $400 trillion company by 2025. Our argument is Truist goes back from $30 to 45, where it was at for 6 years before it came back down.
Okay,
And hold on. Let me point another scenario. Let's say you're 25, you got 20 grand. You could 5x that money, or you could maybe 2x that money, hoping that Tesla somehow performs amazingly versus a stock going back to its mean that it was at for 6 years because of the due diligence you've done. If this is about returns,
No,
I don't
okay,
give a fuck about Tesla. I care about money. And that's a money position because then I'll have more money to buy Tesla. And I think there's nothing wrong with
I've never held anything, by the way, long enough that I had no conviction in. I just haven't.
my point is, what you're doing is you're first of all, to Chris's point about,
I would like to make a gentleman's bet.
You have to. I smell a sack. No, you have to Chris's point about responding to market conditions, right? If everything stayed the same, if COVID never happened, this would be a different conversation.
Yes,
Truist would have probably never tanked, but also Tesla probably wouldn't have ever. So you have to respond to the. You have to respond.
No. To your point, Tesla might not have even 20x if there was not the liquidity.
No,
we
it
got
did.
in the stimulus checks.
It happened. It happened before. It happened because there was a short squeeze in January before COVID. I know, because it was my birthday.
and then
It happened on my birthday.
but for
It
it to
ran
get
up
to
to
that level,
950
a
or
lot of
something. Yeah,
people had to have
950.
money to buy Tesla. Like, let's not quantitative easing created a lot of the rally we saw. I mean, and then the fundamentals came.
I think
No,
you're
it
missing
did.
the point.
No,
You're
it
still
did. But
missing-
no, but I have another point.
Yeah.
And to Chris's point about responding to whatever, when I really started
this
doing my
comment right
DD,
here. This is the comment.
I'll explain.
You guys
I'll
are not
explain
limited
it.
on cash.
No,
That's the
I
difference.
believe me.
We're
I
all
don't
limited
have
on
infinite
cash.
fucking money.
It's all
Not at
fucking
my
market.
level
wanna-
at 25.
But I
Not at
wanna
a
make-
25-year-old limit on
Dude,
cash.
my bank account is 0 at the end of every month. I don't know
wanna-
why.
That's because you go to Cheesecake Factory.
I just want to make this point. I just want to make this point. So
Don't tell my wife.
I also, when I started to really do my due diligence, I had maybe, I don't know, $1,000 in crypto in 2017. I was throwing, a water balloon into the ocean, hoping to ride a big wave. When I saw that it had failed, when I really started doing my research and I understood what crypto was going to do, fucking liquidated my entire dividend portfolio and did not think twice and put it into
How is that
crypto.
not being a trader?
It's not a trader because I'm still in the position and I'm up 6x on it and I'm still
Hold
accumulating.
on. So if
because
my
of the
true is
DD.
up 6x, are you going to call me a genius then at that point?
No, because
hold
what
on,
you're
you
trying-
liquidated
hold on.
your
First of all,
dividend.
No, because
you're mixing up that. You're
No,
mixing
but
up.
let me explain
Hold
why.
on. We're
because
happy
what
for
you're-
you to make money,
wait,
by the
wait,
way. We
wait,
want
No,
you
but
to
you
be
saw
rich.
an opportunity
No, but
when
wait,
Bitcoin
wait,
tanked, so you
wait,
liquidated
wait,
and you bought the
wait,
dip.
wait,
How is that not the
wait,
same?
Wait,
Okay.
you're making a bet to something to return to the mean, dude. That's what
You're
you're trying
saying
to do.
that-
you're
I mean,
saying
trying to ride
speculative
something- hold
assets.
on.
This is his
You're
conviction.
you're trying to ride something from $30 to $45. I'm talking about something that I think is going to be 100,000.
No, Carlos, I have an option.
And I'm looking at it at
I have an
$8,000.
option. I'm not making a $15 spread. I'm making a lot more than that because it's an option.
Yeah.
So
I
that's
understand.
a nuance
I
that really
understand,
matters
but,
here.
but that's what you're betting on for stock price. That's what you're betting on. Look, at the end of the day, I wrote it in the chat. You're doing the same things with the same rationale.
No, wait, hold on. Wait, I don't want to leave this topic so quickly. You said you had a dividend portfolio. You saw something was undervalued, in this case, a speculative asset like crypto, which we can agree is very speculative. You liquidate your dividend portfolio, even though that's a really solid, nice return, which is Tesla.
But yeah, but he has no belief in it. This is what I'm telling
Can
you.
I finish? Can I finish the example? Yeah, he has the belief in some crypto, in
Yeah, I'm saying
Ethereum, and
he
NFTs.
had no belief in AT&T stock. Okay.
Well, I had no
It was
belief
okay
in
to leave.
Tesla compared to the monetary return that I could get on something like a regional
No,
bank.
no, no.
What
That's
is the
called.
difference?
You know what that's called? That's called chasing.
It's called chasing and
How did
trading.
you not chase
Yeah.
crypto?
Yes. No, you're chasing.
You're
gain.
a
That was-
fucking
no, no, no.
chaser.
It's not.
Admit you're a fucking chaser. That's all I'm saying.
Wait, but did you not chase crypto?
Can you
No,
change
it's
the name of the
not chasing.
podcast? Fucking
No,
chaser.
because once I did the full research and understood what crypto was, not only as for the returns and as
Because
technology,
I
I'm like,
Carlos,
dude,
I
don't
did the
have
full
the
research on
fucking
this regional bank. How is your research better
You
than
did
my
5
research?
hours of research.
No.
right.
We did about 2 weeks.
Well,
and
Carlos, we're not going to win this one. We're just going to win the actual Bora Bora trip that
No,
we're going on.
I don't. It's not that. Honestly, it's like look, I've never met you, but I honestly feel like you're like a brother. Like I'm talking to you like I would talk to my brother if there wasn't 536 people watching right now. Like
Oh,
I just
shit,
wanna
ring the
see
bell.
you-
536.
I just want to
boom.
see you be as rich as I should have been 5 years from now, dude. And it's not this way. And here's the thing: if I'm you, like I agreed with Chris's DD. He made a sound case for why that's.
I
Gonna
bought
go
some
there.
Truist.
But what did I do?
Yeah.
I found money. I found what I could to invest in it, but I did not touch my Tesla position. I did not
Right.
liquidate any Tesla, any
Fucking
Enphase
touch that.
to go into that. I made the return that I could. It's like this. Vitaly and I threw a bunch of money into what was that? Bingo stuff? BNGO?
BNGO. Yeah.
The chart, everything in the chart was saying this thing was going to 3x in 3 days. Now I could have thrown $100,000 in there and made $300,000, but I
Yeah.
would not have liquidated. I
We
put
we
what I
went
could-
like 10 grand or whatever
yeah,
it
I
was.
just did whatever I
We ain't
could.
crazy.
And I made my whatever, 10,000 or whatever it was. I could have made 50. I could have made 100, but I certainly wasn't going to liquidate a position because I knew that like a short squeeze was coming or whatever it was, like, I don't know. That's just my strategy. And it could be that I'm in my 40s.
One quick thing.
We care
the
about
position-
our money much more.
The position that me and Amit have when it comes to Truist has done exceptionally well beyond the 26% from May. But we use an option strategy that I am not going to discuss. I do not want people following into our trades. It is a higher speculative bet than just buying the shares, but it has overall done very well. And I think it's going to do very well going into 2023. The point I'm trying to make is that there are sometimes opportunities that will come in the market where things are mispriced
Chris,
in the
adding to
short
that
term.
point, the reason it's done so well is because, Carlos, we got in so fucking early thanks
I
to Chris'
agree.
due diligence. And I liquidated my $4,000 in Tesla to get in that early, just like you did with dividend and crypto. And now I'm up exceptionally well
would it make
because
sense
of
now?
research and because of quick opportunities.
That's fine. Would it make sense now to take out some of those gains and spread it into higher conviction
No,
plays that
well,
you
no,
believe in for the long term?
He's in too deep and he's got to play it out. But my point is this: if the market turns
Well, he
against you,
didn't
this
answer.
is the difference. If the market would have turned against me when I went in on crypto that way, I would have bought more because I was still convicted on the play. The difference is you're waiting for a certain return.
And if it doesn't hit and
If
it tanks,
Truist-
would
if
you buy
Truist
more?
Doesn't, if some regulatory thing happens, say the regulation that they put on crypto now affects the banking segment in a way that's unfavorable. I'm just saying.
No,
you
you're getting
never-
your
Carlos,
crazy
I can say that about Tesla. I can say some
You
random.
can,
like,
but my
hypothetical-
point, my point being this: you're looking for a certain trade to happen. You're looking for certain parameters to be hit, numbers, right? To be hit for you to make a certain percent gain on your money. But you're not convicted in the company. You're convicted in the stock price.
I'm convicted.
And my
in the
point is,
thesis
I
that
was
I'm in
convicted in
right now.
crypto, and if crypto or Bitcoin or Ethereum didn't do what I expected it to do, or the market turned, which it did, I'm still convicted in the underlying asset. I still want to hold the asset.
But now
It's
you're
like buying
bag
a house,
holding.
you know what I
Now you're
mean?
bag holding it at a serious.
Oh, I'm not bag
level.
holding. I am not bag.
No, I'm not
holding.
saying you are. I'm saying in this hypothetical example, if crypto tanks, even though you were, let's say you found your conviction at 61,000 at
Put
Bitcoin.
it like this: crypto could not tank enough for me to be in the negative at this point. That's how.
Yeah,
That's
but
how.
it has to go back to
no,
zero.
I gotta
How
say
good
something here.
it
I
is
gotta
right
say something here. The reason that's the case, and Chris will agree with me, is because you got in at a great opportunity, which is exactly what me and Chris did. Truist could tank to fucking
But I'm not
25
waiting-
Dude, I
and
believe
we
in
would
great
still be up.
opportunities. You're conflating it, and I want to move on to a different topic.
I
But you're
know, yeah,
conflating
yeah.
conviction with
Yeah, I
opportunity.
gotta get the audience in
Yeah,
here.
it's
Okay,
true.
we're
Opportunity is
saying that you have no conviction in what you did, even
No,
though
I
you made
do.
a lot.
I do. That is incorrect. That is an assertion.
As it
I
falls to
conviction in the-
25
conviction
bucks,
in the stock
20
price.
bucks, 15 bucks. Oh no, what's going on? Is my favorite bank in the world going down? Are you the guy who's going to be holding it till the end? Is that
Vitaly,
you?
you cannot say a stock's going from 30 to 15 just hypothetically, because what is
I'm just
the
giving you a
logic there?
hypothetical.
No, but then I can give you a hypothetical that Tesla's going to go to 50. These hypotheticals are,
Yeah,
quite frankly, BS. It
and
doesn't
I've
make
heard
sense.
them. I've heard them from the Bears, and I was willing to buy more. So,
Okay,
like,
so
I've
I heard all the
those.
Bears saying regionals are going to collapse just like Silicon Valley Bank, and I
So you're
said,
willing to buy more? Okay.
well, if Truist goes back down to 25, yes, I am absolutely buying more.
Okay. What if
especially
it goes
on
to
the options
20
I have.
and then 15? I'm just saying
You're-
there are
hold on, you
scenarios
guys
you
are-
haven't played out.
Well, first of all, you guys are equating a 200-year-old bank with a real business with
I get you.
an
Chris.
electric with a brand new industry. So, like I said, this isn't just some random company that, like bank that we invested in and everything else. Like, you guys did your due diligence too. Like, I sat there with you. I explained what the logic and reasoning was behind this play. It wasn't something like that was super, in my opinion, it was less speculative than a lot of other investments that I've made, because for a bank that's actually performing, that's got assets, that has a business, that has a moat around it, has exposure to an existing client base, it's a lot more secure. So all I'm saying is there are very few times where things like this that go on sale, and it behooves you not to be able to capture it. This time, the reason why I was able to capture such a good position on it is not necessarily because the position was like, oh my God, but the options mispricing was the craziest part. That's where we really made a good amount of money in terms of due diligence. And it was the same thing with SoFi. Fuck it, I'll let the cat out of the bag. Me and Amit are holding a ton of SoFi calls, because at the same time, when you look at the volatility, it made no sense. SoFi has multiple catalysts that were coming up. So we were risking money. Don't get me wrong. We were risking money, but the risk that we were taking was very small compared to the outsized returns that we are getting right now and we could be getting in the future.
I'm
saying
also
is,
look, if you sign up for our Patreon, man, you can
Yeah,
look at my
I have
trades. You
plenty
can
of
see
SoFi
I'm
calls.
balls deep
Uh,
in SoFi as
all right,
well. I brought mine
anyway, I
shares
think we
and
should move on.
No, but
What time is
real
it?
quick, Carlos, to that point,
9:40.
you being balls deep in SoFi calls and having Tesla is because you're older, you've got the money. I just don't have that much capital. So if I want to make a really nice return, I've got to consolidate at some level, right?
I agree.
Like-
you have to consolidate.
Personally,
That's not what we're
in my opinion,
disagreeing about.
And
my
Carlos,
opinion,
I
in
hope
my-
this thing, I just
in
hope
my-
this builds him a base that he can use to find investments like Enphase and Tesla and everything else. When you're
Why?
25,
It's right there. I mean, why do you gotta
no,
find
no,
it?
no, no, no.
All I got to say.
Yeah, I want to hear Chris's response to what Vitaly just said.
No,
Chris, what were you
No,
gonna
no, I'm just saying when you're a young guy, right, and you're capital constrained, right, you literally have to wait 5 years to 10 years to get to the point where the capital is meaningful enough to
Correct.
give you a good return.
That's a big
that's going
point,
to
man.
impact you in life. Not to mention, you know, we're at a different point in life. Like I told you guys, when you have $1 million, the conversation that we had earlier today, I think is a very pointed one, where if you have $5 million worth of assets, it's easy for you to hold 4 million of that and just chill. Okay, because you don't have the constraints of the day-to-day stuff that you have to deal with. You don't have like the expenditures, so you can tell someone like what's the name, Sonny. Sonny has a ton of money in Enphase. He's made good amount of money, so now at this point he can just put that money away and chill. He doesn't have to worry about the day-to-day stuff. He doesn't have to worry about the grass situation that you have going on, Vitaly, right? With the pool situation.
Dude, that grass is expensive.
So all I'm saying is, for us, it's easier. For us guys, it's easier to say, hey, you should just buy some high-quality companies and hold, and you'll be fine, because we have money. Like, our net worth is up there.
I know, but
he
you're talking about now.
still building something.
Hold on,
up.
I'll just give a quick story. When I started, I didn't have money. And the first thing I did was buy a piece of real estate with a guy who was younger than me. I was 22. He was 21. We spent our 10 grand. We got a shitty house that was broken with cockroaches. And that's where we spent our money. We didn't go dump it in the stock market or go to Las Vegas.
No, but that version of your story is YouTube for me. Like, that's that's the digital version of my.
Fine, whatever.
You know what
but
I
my
mean?
point is that took in the next 10 years to get a lot of money. It took a whole decade of us grinding it out to make something real that became much bigger. Okay. Yeah. You're trying to take a shortcut.
No,
but no conviction.
No.
You're trying to take a shortcut with no conviction.
No,
that's
the
worst
world
thing
is
you can
way
do.
different. There's the internet now. We don't have to like do that.
The world is different. In 2010, we had no internet.
no, it's not that. It's just there's Bitcoin now. There's
there's
so many. That's not the best.
All right,
argument.
I want to make a point.
Should we talk about Coinbase for a minute?
We have three people in the back. We got to bring them up on stage. Go ahead.
The last thing that I would say is this: if we had a conversation about this, I would have at least liked to have the conversation about getting rid of some of that Palantir stock to buy fucking Truist and leave the Tesla shares alone. That would make more sense to me than
Palantir's up 140%. Smart. Palantir's up 140%. Hold on,
Palantir's up 100. Dude, get rid of the Palantir. Sorry,
hold on. Well, I'm not saying get rid of it. You can take 10% off.
Take $4 grand out of that. Say this thing has been bleeding cash on me. Let me deploy some of this.
But that would have been the wrong strategy because Palantir's up 140%.
Well, I know right now it's up. You can take some out.
That's my point. So why
are you taking any profit now? Or are you going to let that, if it tanks back to 9, have you taken any profit?
You just told me to not trade in and out of stock. So why would I take some profit?
No.
Now your ideology.
But what I'm saying is,
Amit, you're actually not debating well on this one. You're actually losing a lot, and you don't even know it, which is weird.
Actually, let me just summarize this right now.
Your master debating has ruined you.
Hold on, Carlos, you told me if you have conviction, stay with it. You don't get to judge what my conviction is on because that's individual investing. Why would I sell out of Palantir? Even if you don't agree with it, if you're telling me don't sell out of your conviction, that's literally
because it hasn't performed. Because
it's up 100.
No.
It's up. Hold on.
You don't have to sell all of it. Carlos is not saying sell all of it first. I don't think you're saying that, right?
It's very easy to say it's up. It's up from a time frame that you're looking at now. What is it up from when you bought it? Nothing. Zero.
But Tesla, I bought it.
But what is Palantir up? What the 25 grand or whatever you put into Palantir? What has it done for you?
Yeah, it's barely breaking even.
All right, we have people waiting in the back. Bring them up.
Let the chat say. What do you?
Anyway,
I love you. Some people.
Amit, I love you like a brother. Seriously,
I love you too. All right, June, what's up, man?
What is up?
What's up, man?
Where are you calling from?
From San Jose, California. So in the same state as Carlos, just right up the alley.
Nice. Okay, when did you start watching the podcast?
Well, personally, for me, actually, Amit, I've been watching you since back in Money Talks days. So I've been watching you during when Amit was legit, or still is legit, but
he's still legit. Amit's legit.
So I've been, I guess you can say a lurker follower for some time.
I love it. That's awesome. Okay, what's your question?
Yeah, so I just kind of just joined in on the live stream right now, but I guess kind of commenting on, I picked up a little bit on the whole GM and Tesla partnership that happened just recently, and then I guess kind of had maybe not an epiphany, but I just have this kind of imagery where once you have these Ford and GM vehicles coming in to these Tesla supercharging stations, you can kind of imagine most of the big sellers are like the Mach-E's or the Chevy Bolts. And so if these cars are kind of coming up to these charging stations, sure, they start charging, and I can imagine you know, the first driver comes in, starts charging, but then you see a Tesla come drive up right next to them, start the charging session and be done in like 10, 15 minutes. And then you still have
Faster.
the Chevy Bolts and then you still have the Mach-E's just kind of still waiting like, oh crap, like I'm still charging, like, you know, hey, Tesla sounds like a good idea. And so it becomes this kind of like weird advertising in the background as well too. It just kind of gets them to think like, oh, it's great that once they experience the Tesla supercharging network, they're like, oh, I can't leave this network anymore now. But now, like, I start to realize, like, wow, these, like, you know, Teslas are coming in, just going in and out, like, with their charging speed and whatnot. I don't know. That seems like a very.
Do you know what the charging speed is of a Chevy Volt? I don't know what the. Can they
Yeah,
charge at 250 kilowatts?
The Bolts are really slow. They're like 50 kilowatt hour. That's like pretty much the Achilles heel for Bolts, even though they're, you know, selling like gangbusters. But yeah, they're
but
really
to your point, that's exactly what that the optics of that is not going to be lost on those owners. The other thing to keep in mind too is I think there's only 40,000 Mach-E's total that have been sold, right? So the impact on the charging network is going to be relatively small. People think that they're going to be seeing Fords and Chevys everywhere, but I mean, I don't see that very many on the road as it is right now. I've only seen maybe a handful of Mach-E's. I've seen one Lucid in the wild that wasn't at the EV car show, and I've seen maybe a handful of Rivians. So the impact is going to be relatively small, but the impact to them being in front of all these Tesla drivers and, like you said, seeing the benefits is going to be insane.
I wonder if they're going to feel weird, like, should I go here?
Well, you could
it's like
say
it's like going to a biker bar. You know, I don't
or it's
feel
like when you were a kid
comfortable
and you went to like a different playground to play. And
Right.
like,
Yeah, but you could-
I don't know anybody here.
You
You
could
could-
a supercharging station.
You
But-
could say the opposite could happen too, where a Tesla owner, right, was saying, "Hey, this actually looks like a really cool car. Hey, the pricing point on this car is a lot less. Man, you know, I got this Tesla because, you know, I could use this really great supercharging network, but now I can afford to get a Chevy Bolt and still use the same services. Why don't I just get that instead?" Like, you know, so it's a double-edged sword. No matter how
nobody's
we cut
thinking,
it.
should I get a Chevy
Yeah.
Bolt or a Tesla? That's not how that works. Okay.
but no, but to Chris's
no,
point,
no,
if I
no,
get a
wait.
Mach-E
But to Chris's
or-
point, as a second vehicle, you might say, hey, like for a
No.
second vehicle, you might.
Imagine you get yourself a Tesla and your wife is getting the Bolt. You're fucking dead.
No, but dude, not everyone's got money to spend like that. Some people, they have to buy what they can
It's
afford. And if-
$27,000 now.
Yeah,
we
but
talked about
I
that.
agree. But I'm saying now, if Ford and GM somehow can eke out smaller cars that are cheaper than a Tesla, you never know.
They can't.
You know?
That's the whole point. They cannot. They have not scaled their
This is what
manufacturing.
This is what Mary Barrow said the other day, that she doesn't see GM making a vehicle that's profitable between $30,000 and $40,000 till 2030 or 2035. If they're not bankrupt by then, they're not going to have any vehicles. There's, you know, if they're not bankrupt by then maybe. But I can't see how they're not bankrupt if they're not selling any vehicles. And now with this move to Tesla, you have to understand every electric vehicle that GM sells is an ICE vehicle that they're not selling, and that's what's supporting the company. You're literally gutting the foundation of the building. So how long until that just creates
Good point.
cascade of
point.
collapse? It's not good for them, man. It's really not good.
Mhm.
And it sounds, you know, I even argue with people on Twitter. If you're not following me on Twitter, follow me on Twitter. Follow us on Twitter. I argue with these people all the time. It's okay.
If you want to argue with us, we'll argue with you on Twitter.
I'll argue with you on Twitter. But the point is, like, it
If you want
sounds
a
like.
nice guy, it's a Mitch.
Just tell Carlos Meta is the best company in the world, and he'll get it.
Oh my
man,
God.
relax. That's a whole other thing. But it sounds ridiculous when you say that these companies will go bankrupt. But like someone just posted in the chat, they've already gone bankrupt. Some of these. Ford's the only one that's never gone bankrupt. Like they've already gone bankrupt. Except this time it might be the final nail in the coffin. Like the cat doesn't have 9 lives. You know.
I don't know. I think the government will keep bailing them out. I'm not sure about that.
How
but
would that work though? How would that work? What's Biden going to say when GM can't just sell vehicles? What are you going to
Biden's
tell
not going to
people?
be president when they go bankrupt in a couple of
All
years.
right, so then the next dude in there. How
I
do you
think the
bail
government
out?
will still find some way, because you've seen how
Or
Biden
he'll be
just
dead.
always like
Yeah.
Biden's always stepping up and saying, you know, just even a couple months ago, like you know, Biden's up there with the CEO of GM saying like, oh, the leader of EV in US and all this, and I think administration will find a way to save face. And
But how do you do it? In 2008, they did it because there was a housing bubble crash. You do it in 2001 because we had a terrorist attack. Like,
Don't forget about, someone
company
said it
is-
right. Don't
How?
forget about Chinese EVs either. Chinese EVs, eventually
Yeah.
they're going to come to the
Absolutely.
US. Those are the
Right.
ones that you have to be more careful of.
But then what the government would do is just put a massive tax on them. put a tariff on them. That's what they would do.
No, I mean, I don't know.
All right, guys, we got to move on. We got another person in the back. Thank you, June. Appreciate
All
it.
right.
Thanks for watching.
Great listening to you guys.
All right, we got Luke. What's up, man?
What's up? We got new people today. This is awesome.
This is
What's
great.
up, guys?
This is good.
You guys,
Luke,
wild
where are you
tonight.
calling from, and how long you been watching?
Since the beginning, probably a year and a half now, and I'm in Florida.
Okay, very cool. What's your question?
I mean, I was kind of just listening to you guys argue all day, all night, pretty much. But
Sorry.
the biggest thing, I mean, with Carlos, I know you're big in crypto. I mean, I always believe. I mean, I think I heard it from Kathy first, having a beta weight of at least a portion of crypto to your allocation.
Yes.
So you're asking for our
Are you
thoughts on
asking?
having a little bit
Are
of.
you asking?
recommended-
Should you have one?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, overall,
What's the
it's
question?
more on this whole debate with Amit. I mean, Amit, how you're trading right now is how I kind of was trading in 2020.
How you're trading
And-
right now? That's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
How old are you, Luke?
I'm 26, just like you.
How did
Okay.
you do?
Terrible. Because I would win big in trades and I would move that money because I thought I didn't have a big enough portfolio. So I kept allocating my money, trying to like pretty much go all around, try to get the east sector. And then I
Yep.
realized starting this year mainly, I'm just building the strongest portfolio, setting for my like future. So,
Yeah, I think the problem is Amit. He started as an investor. He didn't start as a trader. He went full into Palantir right in the beginning, putting all his pennies in there. And so he's never actually traded and made some good money. And the way trades work is sometimes you win and you win a lot. And then you think you can do it again because you're special.
Well, if
And it doesn't
if
happen
you-
that
if
way.
you
The
think you
the
can
other
do it
part of it
again,
is-
that's a bad mindset. But I don't think that's the case here.
That's the mindset
The
you're
other,
building.
the
by
other
the
part
way.
of it is in this particular situation, this is not like Amit going off on his own. This is Chris. Like, and I trust Chris. Like, I trust Chris. And I was there
I do
when
too.
he presented the DD. Fucking sound. You know, you follow Chris on Twitter. Everyone post critters his critter. I said critter. Post
Critter.
Chris his Twitter in there. Follow the guy. He's incredibly smart and thorough and researched. And so I understand. Like if Amit's gonna follow anyone, follow Chris, please, because he knows how to make money. But it's what Vitaly's saying. It's like it's not indicative. Like people that started investing in 2020 don't understand what markets are really like, you know, and you can learn the hard way, which are hard-earned money. Anyway. That's my.
well, I mean, we experienced so much. I mean, I started in 2020. So, I mean, just 3 years now, I've seen craziness.
You got five.
So, I
you
mean-
got 5 or 10 years worth of trading in these 3 years since 2020.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm just setting up and I've made way more money holding this year, just M-Phase, Tesla, SoFi combined than any of the trades I've made, just moving my money because I won, I lost, I won, lost, won. It's just a back and forth battle.
Yeah, and look, we got to move on. But the one thing I'll say there is I've never done that. What you're doing is like getting into a bunch of different things. I've done 2 trades in my life, and both of them were influenced by Chris because there were massively undervalued opportunities, and that's it. I'm humble enough to realize I'm not going to go do some crazy fucking option strategy on some stock.
Yeah, but you sold Tesla and Phase.
No, but that's
You
the
just
point.
spawned
That's the point.
those.
I think the reason you fell into a trap, Luke, is because you made it on your own. So
You didn't know Chris.
No, no,
fell
no,
into
yeah,
the
like-
trap.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
to offend
Chris
Chris,
is
man,
Kevin Bacon.
You're like
Well,
the
it's more-
Lucas.
You don't have the
it's more,
right.
it's more about
friends.
mentorship. It's more about mentorship. It's like when you do something on your own, you make 100 grand. You're like, holy shit, I can make 200 grand. Whereas when you only make 100 grand because that motherfucker told you to make it, then it's a question of humility. And I've told Chris many times personally in text messages, like, bro, I'm not doing any crazy shit in the stock market because I don't have the humility to say I know how to do it. A lot of these gains are because of you. So there's a lack of ego in terms of the gains I have because I know it's not from my mind. I'm humble enough to accept that, which means when the gains do come, I don't think I'm going to have the experience to be like, well, I can just double that again because I didn't do it the first time. It was a mentor. And I think that's
Yeah,
the
and-
nuance here that's important to understand.
And the other thing is when I researched it, I didn't tell these guys, okay, this is what you need to do. I was like,
Yeah, you
look, this
did.
this
No,
is
no, he
no.
didn't.
No.
I
He's-
did an actual like presentation to these guys. We jumped on a Zoom call. I spent the time to actually explain what the reasoning behind it was, why this is happening, what's going on with the general macro economy. So it was coming out from multiple angles. It wasn't just like,
No, but Chris,
hey, I think.
hold on, you're very convincing. Okay, you
Yeah.
are very convincing.
Hold up, Vitaly, before you go there, before you go there, have you heard yourself talk about end phase?
No,
It's
no.
going to-
I'm
Okay,
convincing
you made me buy that.
Hold on, hold on. I was about to pat both of us on the back, by the way.
No, but I'm saying like you
and
can be
me
very
and
convincing
Chris
as well.
are very convincing. I've convinced people to give me money so I can build miners in my basement. Okay, and they gave me,
Bitcoin miners.
They
Oh,
gave
I
me
thought you were talking
money.
about.
I've convinced people to give me hundreds of thousands. You don't understand, in cash to go buy real estate. They
Yeah,
don't
I
wanna-
convinced you to give me 10K. So we got a little.
Well, my point is, yes, and you convinced me, but I'm saying me and Chris, especially Chris, when he writes his DD and he does all, it's very convincing. The problem is I have no conviction in any of his DD, even if I follow him. And then what will happen is one day I will follow him, make a bigger bet, and you will do this, Amit. You watch, and it's not going to work out. And I'm going to lose a lot more, and I'm not going to be able to stomach
no,
it because I have no conviction in it.
If Chris tells me, "Oh, CrowdStrike is undervalued, let's do it," I don't. Until I agree, CrowdStrike is. I had to agree.
You're giving me examples. I'm just talking about if you don't have your own personal conviction in something, you will not hold it as soon as
I
it
am
actually
disagreeing
tanks.
with you, thinking I don't have my personal conviction.
No, you
in
don't.
due diligence. That's the only reason.
In
All right,
that-
we got a lot of people backstage, but we got
Okay.
a lot more people. All right, so Luke, thank you for joining. We'll see you next time.
Welcome, man. Peace.
Emmanuel, you're
We
up
started
next.
arguing right with another guest right on. Right.
Hey,
What's up?
what's up, guys? Can you hear me?
Hey, Emmanuel.
Yes, where are you calling from, and how long have you been listening to the pod?
Hey, I'm calling from Atlanta, Georgia. So where
Okay.
Chris is actually,
Great.
up in the north, Alfred actually. And I've been
Nice.
listening to you guys for what, like 3 to 6 months.
I'm sorry to
Yeah.
hear that.
Yeah, I'm sorry for your loss.
Sorry, my condolences.
Why are you saying that?
Because we can certainly talk someone's ear off.
What's your
No, you
question?
guys are great, man. Like I think you guys are really good because you debate truthfully, and I can see Amit kind of growing in his personal finance knowledge over this past few weeks and months. And Chris is like Yoda, right? Like from Star Wars.
That would be a great.
Chris
That would be
hates
a great.
people saying
No,
compliments about him, but like he is the guy, but he doesn't like the compliments. But yes.
Yeah,
All right,
and I
what-
appreciate
Amit-
your passion, right? Like Vitali and Carlos, you guys, like you've been doing it for so long, right? Like decades. So yeah, learning a lot from you guys.
Thanks for pointing that out.
Well,
I wanted
and by
to
the
be
way,
nice.
listen, Amit's gonna be rich. Amit's gonna be rich, and I'm go on record.
Oh, Amit's going to be richer than us. That's
Amit's
100%.
gonna be richer than us, and Amit will. I promise you, Amit will do a fucking TED talk one day. He will be there.
Yeah,
up
yeah.
there talking
I
about
gave
the
this guy
book he
10,000
wrote.
I met in one day.
I
This guy gives me,
promise
hold on,
you.
hold on. This guy gives me a little bit of Cheesecake Factory, and all of a sudden he has 10,000 in his pocket.
Throws you
okay?
some crumbs.
Yo, you guys don't remember that night? I took Vitaly to Cheesecake. I was like, Vitaly, give me 10 grand. I'll take it to the moon. And Vitaly's like,
And you're like,
"Ah,
have you
fuck
seen
it,
the
here."
have you seen the selection of milkshakes, Vitaly?
But dude, I gotta say, Amit has some great communication skills. Like, and I got really attached to like. Okay, let me share this. Okay, I follow a lot of personal finance people on YouTube, right? And you know how the deal is. You get kind of carried away in the beginning. You're like, oh, these guys know something that other people don't, and like CNBC is just like they're trying to lead you astray. So you start going through one YouTube channel, you get carried away, and you're like, oh, this guy is fraud, and you go somewhere else, and you jump from one person to another. But Amit has been the only guy who says like, I don't know anything, right from the beginning.
It's the fucking smartest strategy, and I didn't even know I was.
That is
being
pretty
focused-
smart.
He can
That is
never.
pretty
He can
smart.
literally never be wrong. And then Chris
Yeah.
comes. Chris backs him up. It's like the older brother. It's like, hold my beer.
No, see, the thing that
Exactly.
happens, let me make this point as well. So, like, Meet Kevin does a market open, right? And people are there
Yeah.
to really listen to his analysis.
Yeah.
I do a fucking market open. I don't know the markets as well as Kevin, but my communication skills means I can read an article. 10
We're
minutes
just there to
before.
feel better than you. That's what they're for.
That's not.
Yeah, that's why I
relatable,
did it. That's why I
dude.
did
You're
it.
really relatable. Yeah.
I
Go ahead,
can analyze an article, and because of like the debate skills, I can just like talk about it, and people, they don't need to be convinced by it. They're like, oh, this is good news information, which is the point of the morning open, right? You're just giving out news, and so that ended up creating sort of a personality. And yeah, it's smart. I don't know shit, and therefore you can't say shit.
Well, the smartest thing anybody can do is surround themselves with smart people.
That is so
Yeah.
true, and you guys are much
And
smarter
it's-
than me.
Yeah, and it's also important to say I don't know, right? Like that's so important. The moment someone says, "Hey, I know something," or "I don't want to hear the other person's opinion," that's when you should be scared. That's when you should
Yeah.
like take a step back. And
Or if they
Amit
can't
says that a lot.
explain, or if
Yeah,
they
go
can't
ahead.
explain it, or if they can't rationally explain it. Like if you can't
Yeah.
rationally explain why you have certain conviction in a certain play or a certain stock, then that's a problem. I've seen tons of people who will clout chase and just basically like, oh, this company is up 10x, I think this company is going to go to 500 tomorrow. And it's like, based on what? Based on what research? Are you just saying that to get clicks? Because at that point, what you're doing is you're sacrificing credibility so that people will click on a video that you created.
That's also the thing about I think the Palantir community is like the channel has grown with the Palantir community because each video is not Tesla Palantir to XYZ price. It's like, hey, they got to deal with Panasonic. Now that's not going to get as many views as Palantir to $1 trillion, but you're analyzing the nature of that PR and then making some hypothesis. And that's where I think I have some analytical capabilities. And it's important to be honest.
I just think guys don't want to admit it, but we like girls love the daytime talk shows, like those just bunch of girls sitting around like yapping, like the Ricky Lakes of the old times. This is it for us. We just like talking about stocks, and so what you're doing is like
stocks, sports, girls.
You're doing the equivalent of like the daytime talk show, where it's just like, let's just talk about the company. It's not necessarily price prediction, what's going to happen. It's like, I just want to talk about the company. And it's been incredibly successful.
So do you have a question?
I think sometimes, I have a question. Sorry. Yeah. So I've been keeping some cash on the side, right? All the people are saying that there's a recession coming, like Stanley Druckenmiller, blah, blah. And like Chris is also saying that, I guess, now. So when that happens, what are some of the plays that you guys are looking to get into long-term? Stocks or price targets, whatever, like looking to hear from you guys. Yeah, go ahead.
For me, I'm looking at undervalued companies that are going to be less impacted by the recession than people think, or companies that typically get impacted by the recession, but have already consolidated themselves around mitigating it. If you think about it, this is the most predicted recession in all of history. Like, we've been talking about this recession. The recession is coming since a fucking year and a half ago, which is unheard of.
They turned on the money printer.
I know.
That's not how it's supposed to work. That's not how recessions work. Recessions work where something breaks in the economy and everything goes down, and then you have to try to recoup yourself and come back up. This is like, hey, I think there's going to be a recession in the next year. Okay, there's going to be another recession. Oh, hey guys, there's going to be a recession. Every single company on the planet right now has been strengthening their balance sheet in anticipation of this recession. So the question that I have is a recession going to come? Yes, it will. But will companies be ready to face it head on? Absolutely. Most companies, they typically do really bad during the recession because they're unprepared for it. Right. This is the first time in history where everyone's already prepared for the recession. So,
and the ones who weren't are already failing.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, on the tech side, I think people are already like so many people losing jobs, and then
look, Meta laid staff off. They consolidated their real estate portfolio. Amazon started laying people off. Google did the same thing. Everyone started consolidating early before the recession came. Because if the recession comes and you're not prepared, then you have to literally take the huge hits. The question that I have is, when Meta was down 70%, what happened? Where were all the people at that time saying, hey, listen, this is unheard of? And then the way that you want to play this is by trying to front run the companies making the actions that are due before they're able to do them, and recognize that. So as an example, in my opinion, the regional banks, all of them, because of what happened to SVB and First Republic, all of them started to rationalize their costs. A lot of them, the issue with regional banks wasn't that they're bad business. It's just that in the short term, they had a lot of liquidity issues and people were selling off the stock. So one of the things, the industries that I'm particularly bullish on is regional banks. I think regional banks have a great opportunity to come back to where they were trading at pre SVB. And based on that, that's the one area that I'm looking at. Another one that I'm looking at, believe it or not, is a consumer, some of the other stuff. I'm not going to go too much into it because I don't have the DD ready on hand. But right now, my biggest conviction is in regional banks.
All right, we got to move on. We got a ton more people. Right? Emmanuel, last sentence, then we got to move on. Go ahead.
Yeah, just one last thing, right? So the banks have gone up a little bit now, right? Are you saying that they'll go back down again when the
No, they're going to go they're going to go further up. They're going to go further up. Recession's already priced in. Think about it this way. You have a stable bank loses half of its market cap, and right now it's trading like 50% their book value. Banks banks, believe it or not, are a very easy business to understand. What they do is They borrow money in the short term, they lend it out long, and they make money on the spread. Right now, the entire equation's been flipped because the short-term borrowing costs have gone really high. Long-term returns have gone down significantly, right? So the question is, what happens? I'll tell you what happens. The Fed eventually starts cutting rates and realigns the equation back this way, in which case the banks, which are undervalued, become fairly valued again. And that's all.
Cool, man.
That was great. That was the best analysis I've heard on YouTube ever in my life.
The other thing to consider about the banks is when the high flyers and all the volatility, right? When you're afraid of that, where do you go to? You go to Tesla.
Yeah, Carlos, you should be going. You should
no. But I'm saying,
was that not the answer?
The big boys. Where do they go for safety? Right.
Well, they go to Palantir for data analytics software. All right, we gotta go. We gotta move on. Thank you, Emmanuel, for being on.
Right.
Appreciate it. And thank you for complimenting me. That was, even though it wasn't really compliment, but it was good. Thank you.
Cheers, guys.
All right, we got our boy Andrew.
All right, 10:13, baby. Andrew, you're last up,
man.
What's going on, guys?
How's it going?
I just wanted to say hi, honestly, and then ask about SoFi.
Your mic's not working, bro. Your mic's not working.
It's not working?
No,
it's working. It's working.
No, it's not, because you sound like you're in a.
He doesn't sound horrible. Okay, so he doesn't have to fix it.
How do I?
It's his computer audio right now.
Tap the mic. You'll see what I'm talking about. Yeah. See?
Yeah. You have to change the audio.
I work in television. That mic's not
go
working.
to settings. Go to settings,
Okay.
and then
This
change
is giving
it to
IT right now.
Oh my.
Hold on, I'm going to bring up a Windows terminal to help you out.
Let me log into your computer. Click
Hey,
this link.
it's okay. What's your question?
Hold on. Andrew, you said you were gonna do something when Palantir hit $15.24. You want to tell everybody?
You gonna shave your head?
What are we gonna do?
Okay, so.
Because I don't think you're gonna do it, but you said you were gonna do it, and we'll see.
I am gonna do it. I did not give a time or like a date that I was gonna do it, but I will do it. I'm a man of my word. I'll do it by the end of this year. But I was originally gonna say Palantir 15,024 times to give an ode to my average, which is 15.24. And then Amit came out and said that he did it 50,000 times for the word startup, I think. And I was like, all right, fuck you. 50,000 plus 15,000, 65,000. That's what I'm gonna do.
This podcast will never end if we start.
Not on the pod. He's gonna do it on his channel.
What did Mr. Beast do? He went. How did he get
did
famous?
100,000 times for Logan.
100,000 times. He said, "What was it?
Logan Paul."
Logan.
No. It was. Honey.
Andrew, I think you should pick something like Logan Paul to say 65,000 times
for the cloud.
No, Palantir's gonna be way better, bro. You'll get way. Okay, what's your question, Andrew?
Well, mainly I just wanted to say hi, but I guess I just wanted to give an update because SoFi, I am now up 150% on the options. I have not sold. I just wanted to get Chris's and Amit's insight, or I think Vitaly and Carlos. I don't know if
fuck
you guys
us.
I don't know if you guys own SoFi, but if you do,
We
own SoFi and we're holding up.
I've owned SoFi before any of these guys, by the way. Okay,
yeah, but Vitaly, hold on, Vitaly, no, let me say this on the pod. You only got really bullish on SoFi once Chris got bullish.
Dude, me and Carlos bought it like basically when it came out. Do you remember we were buying SoFi?
You were shitting on the SoFi weekly podcast for 2 months.
No, I'll still shit on it.
No, because
I have no problem shitting on it.
No, Chris got
doesn't
bullish.
mean I didn't have it way before.
Now SoFi's, and then you loaded up on the calls. It wasn't before.
Dude, I've had thousands of shares before you even said the words out of your mom's womb, SoFi, okay?
Yeah, but you constantly shitted on it every time on the pod. You did shit on SoFi.
I'm still shitting on it. It's still a shitty bank.
It's up 100% in a month.
And I've made the money, and I still don't love it. But I'll take the money any day of the week.
So do you think Andrew should sell his contracts? I guess that's your question, right, Andrew?
What was the term of your contracts? How long are they leaps or what?
2024 December, $5 strike.
All right. So do you think it's gonna? You think between now and December 2024, it's gonna be higher or lower?
Well, I think, yeah. I mean, we got in, or at the time I got in, I got around like $4 billion market cap, under 1 price to book. I haven't checked where it is now because I've been really busy covering Palantir, then also with my work. But yeah, I mean, I think fintech is the future. I see that in my own personal life with my friends using the bank. And then also from like a pure valuation perspective, I have valuation models and then access to people who've done valuation models.
So don't sell the contracts.
Yeah, they don't. It's like we're nowhere close to where I think we should be present value. And then if you think of like the economy reversing, interest rates coming down, which likely will happen in the next 2 years with those contracts. Mm-hmm. I was thinking maybe this could be like my first ever thing I actually deliver on and exercise the options and actually buy shares of the company.
Well, that was my question. So in December, it's coming up. It's going to be
No,
here
this
sooner
is
than you think.
2024.
Oh, 2024. Okay, got
Yeah.
it. So you're just going to
A
wait. see
long
what
time from
happens,
now.
and then exercise those options.
Yeah, I'm thinking.
That's the plan.
I'm
Well,
thinking.
by then, student loans would have already restarted. By then,
Yeah.
the Fed should have either paused and definitely lowered rates. I mean, there's just so many things that we kind of already know are on the horizon. We'll have an election, right? By December 2024, we'll have another election. So
Oh,
there's a lot of things.
There should be a bull market in 2024. That's
right.
what it
And
should be.
the
That's what I'm
point is,
thinking.
if you're buying leaps that are 2 years out, your time frame should be looking that far out, right? I mean,
Yeah, I
if
guess
it
it's
runs
just
up
when you see that
1500%,
gain, you know,
What's your
you have to
strike?
like stomach that volatility. It's
What's your $5?
$5.
$5. All right, then you're there with us. I mean, I think we
Yeah.
all have a bunch of $5 calls.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
I'm not looking to take the shares. I just want the.
I think though, in the interim, I think we went over a chart yesterday, 2 days ago. I forgot when we went over the chart, but SoFi will have some resistance around the $10, $11. So where it goes from there matters, I guess. If it tanks too low, it might break down, but I still think there's some room to run. And that's my plan, by the way, to take a little bit off the top at around 10, $11.
Very nice. Understood.
But still keep a bunch. Believe me, I've been sitting on these fucking shares for a long time.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, I want to publicly say it. Andrew has, because this is good because you haven't come on since then. Andrew has joined me in running a Twitter account called Daily Pountier, and I'm going to put that in the description right now.
Okay.
Oh, you're the okay. Okay, that's you.
Andrew is the architect behind.
Well, you're
a
the
lot
guy
of
I had to block from sending me those goddamn emails. I hit unsubscribe 10 times. These motherfuckers.
No, do you still get them every day?
I blocked you. I literally blocked
me?
that
That's so
Palantir
mean.
link.
Oh my gosh. So
You're
he's
gonna
helping me with
regret that
content.
now.
He's 21, and he came on this pod like I think a month ago, and I saw just how like cool he was, and I hit him up privately, and I was like, "Yo, do you want to help me? Because I'm stretched for time." And now he's helping on the website. He's helping with content. He's helping his own personal brand, kind of incorporating into all this stuff. So, and he's an intern at Bloomberg, so his trajectory is just like the sky's the limit for him. So super awesome.
Appreciate you, dude. Thank you.
All right.
All right.
So
So
I was actually talking to him about some of the due diligence work, and I think it's good. That's one of the key things that I think people need to do, regardless of what the talking heads on CNBC or even us. We say we like a company, screw us. We're pointing you in a direction. It's your job to get the map out, look at it, say, hey, does this fit where I'm trying to go? You know, so that's what I like. Me and you spoke on Twitter, that was the first thing I said. Do your own due diligence. Yeah. Look it up. Look at how a bank works. Look at where it's supposed to be trading. Look at how its business is supposed to work. Look at the risks. Look at the other things around it. Look at how they do their accounting. And when you really do like in-depth research, you can find a lot of great things, you know, especially when the entire sector is down. A lot of people tend to throw out good companies with the bad ones. I'm not saying that there aren't bad companies in the sector. I'm just saying overall, the entire sector sometimes gets oversold, and you can find ones that actually are really good in the rough. And after that, you just buy it and you hold and let the thesis play out.
100%.
Yep.
Okay. Thanks, Andrew, for joining. We'll talk
Appreciate
later.
you guys. Have a
So
good
I
night.
guess we're not gonna talk Coinbase then.
Oh, we could do Coinbase a little bit. Why not?
I mean, it's you guys got to leave. It's an hour 22 minutes, unless you want to do last 5 minutes on Coinbase.
Last 5 minutes.
Okay.
I think if you
Go
want
ahead.
to play,
I
this
think
guy-
okay. Just
can I play something? Well, then we talk about it. I have the link up.
Okay. And then I just want to make one point about it, which goes back to I guess
So,
our argument about being bullish on crypto.
all right. So I'm skipping Brian Armstrong, who's the CEO. I'm gonna go directly to Gary Gensler, who's a complete shit and obviously just hates crypto. And this
Oh,
shows you
Freaking tool.
this shows you how much he hates it. So let's see if you guys can hear it.
Take a look at this.
You guys hear this?
Yeah.
Coinbase complaint. We note that they have, through the Coinbase wallet, you can trade 16,000 different tokens. And there's a lot of debate as to the use cases and whether there's any there. Look, we don't need more digital currency. We already have digital currency. It's called the US dollar. It's called the euro. It's called the yen.
That was
They're all
hilarious, bro.
now. We already have digital investments. And you
So hold on. My question is, you can take that off. This guy is regulating crypto, so it doesn't seem like it's going to work out in the short term.
The argument that he's making, and this is the fallacy that he's making there, because you can trade or you can move money around on a computer, that makes the US dollar digital. That's completely a lie. This is what it looks like when powerful people do not have complete control over something, and they're pushing a narrative to scare you away from it and doing everything they can to destroy something. And if whatever makes those powerful people really scared is something that I want to be in. And that's why
I don't know if you necessarily want to be in it.
Bro, I should show you my portfolio, man. Like, it's real,
Well,
dude.
you
It's
got in
life
it at a
changing.
really low. Again, Carlos, if
I didn't get it
the
as low as I could
banned
have.
crypto, that's not a great investment. I don't know why
Say
you're
what?
so excited.
No,
If
no.
the
Okay,
government
so
bans
so
crypto,
you
that's
can't
not
ban
exciting.
crypto.
I don't know why you're like, let's run to the edge of the mountain, and then you fall off because the government's like, fuck.
Hold
crypto.
on, I agree
It's
with
like
you.
China
Remember,
now.
No.
hold on. Let me give you the facts. The facts are Gary Gensler and the SEC is the one that let Coinbase on the exchange. So
Yeah, and the
they're-
government's corrupt, and they flipped.
hold on, they allowed them to do that. The second thing is that there's plenty of companies that are now related or being related to crypto. BlackRock and all these JPM, they're all starting crypto divisions. This is all happening. They cannot ban crypto like you're saying. They can
also
slow
invested in
down.
FTX.
They can slow down Coinbase. That can happen while JPM and BlackRock and all these other companies start to move faster on their crypto portfolios. But this is happening. In my Fidelity, they said, "Hey, we're opening up a crypto brokerage. This is starting soon." So
okay, what if just like you kept saying, what if crypto gets banned? Then what happens? What if?
Oh, we're fucked. I mean,
hey, then so I don't. If the risk reward on that, just like my risk reward that me and Chris have been doing on other plays, same thing for you guys. If crypto gets banned, China banned it, by the way. It's not in China. It's gone. So this idea that it can never happen in the United States.
I didn't realize you were comparing this country to China, but okay.
Right.
Well, the United States thinking of banning TikTok,
and
that's pretty authoritarian in my
opinion
to ban TikTok. That's pretty wild.
It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen in the U.S. Actually, the big institutions want in. This is part of the problem is that they want in. They want in on it, but I think they want to get in on their terms. They want to get in at $8,000 a BTC. It's too expensive for them right now. You know what I mean? They want to get in on this. And so what's needed now is some sort of regulation. And I think what's happening now is a combination. Like I said, they're building their own blockchains on the side while currently trying to push a narrative that crypto is bad, or like this is what always happens with the technology. Oh, it's only used for drug dealers and porn.
Right. The internet. What is it good
just
for?
Just like the internet, right? And then once they get in and have the regulation, then everyone comes in, and guess what? The narrative changes overnight. Then it's fine once everybody gets their positions. But I think this is overall really good. If you're a crypto investor, I think it's going to represent a good buying opportunity. And then once that regulation barrier is cleared, then I think all the big boys are going to come in. And once they come in,
you're right about that, Carlos.
And once they come in, Kathy Woods had a whole thing on crypto, and she was like, if all the companies in the S&P 500 put 1% of their free cash flow into crypto, just 1% of their money.
So
Bitcoin
why would that happen?
Well, he didn't finish. First of all, he didn't finish the statement what she said. So let him finish.
Just saying, if all the companies put, because it's about like diversifying, right, and keeping cash on the side, and not having all your eggs say in cash. 1% of their free cash flow into Bitcoin. Bitcoin's $400,000.
As soon as it's a real hedge, yes, it's unstoppable.
If they don't do that in gold, why would
just-
they do that for crypto? Like, this is just absurd to me. You think Palantir, SoFi, Apple is going to put 1% of their Apple, the most premier brand in the world, is going to be like, yeah, we're going to bet on this speculative asset that's used to sell drugs and child pornography. Not saying it's not happening. I'm not painting you guys as those people. I'm just saying you want to associate that with Apple.
Dude, are you Gary Gensler's son?
No, but this is if Apple is all woke ESG, you don't think they're going to think about that twice? Like, you guys are really dismissing this like it's not a big deal. And
you're okay.
Well, I think we should have a longer conversation again about
really
it, but it's
should.
getting late. So how do you want to end it?
Like,
so first
subscribe,
of all-
bring up the new Finance Junkies channel. We have 562 people. Can we get a couple of subs from you guys?
Okay, hold on. Gautam, for the PayPal, I just sent you a link in the chat. We did like 20 minutes on PayPal. We don't have time to talk about it, but I just sent you a link. It's on the clips. It's on the Finance Junkies channel. So I just sent you the link. I'll post it again so you can watch the PayPal analysis there. And this is the new channel for everyone who wants.
There was two PayPal questions, but maybe we could do 2 minutes just tomorrow or Sunday, just to hook these guys up a little bit.
Yeah. Bring up the new channel share the screen and keep refreshing. Let's see what we can get. We got a lot yesterday. I think we got over 20 people. That's
yeah. Let's get another 60 right now.
Actually, we should do a reverse. Amit's going to continue to ring the cowbell until we have 20 people. So if you want the cowbell to stop, look at
such torture.
We were at 757 yesterday. That's awesome.
What are we at now? I can't see.
831.
All right, let's guys click like and subscribe even right now on Amit's channel.
Yeah,
and
Homeboy-
obviously go
Homeboy-
subscribe to Finance Junkies,
Homeboy-
the real
well-
channel. Because I think at what at 1,000 or 2,000. When are we switching over?
1,000. Well, it's gonna take a while because we got to figure out the live issue and all that.
Maybe
stuff.
2,000. Okay.
Maybe 2,000. Yeah.
No, until we're out of Apple jail.
That someone put us in.
I don't know who you're talking about.
Thanks, Carlos.
All right, that's it for so first of all, how do you guys feel about the
He hates Meta so much he put us in Apple jail.
Oh man, did
This
we
is like
really-
our 8th week, I think, of doing this straight. 4 days in a row, 5 days in a
man.
row. This is pretty awesome.
Some guy asked me on Twitter, "Can you guys do this seven days
Oh,
in
yeah,
a
I
row?"
saw
I said,
that.
"Are
I
you
was
trying
like,
to kill
"Get
me?
the
What's wrong with you?"
And there's 500 people. Let me ring the bell for 500. I didn't get to ring it.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Great stuff, guys. We'll see you Sunday. Have a good night, everyone.
Oh,
Take
yeah,
care,
we're back
everyone.
for the week. All right,
Bye.
Bye.
bye.